Okay, so let me set the stage here. It's 1986. I'm like 20 years old. Uh, Ronald Reagan's still in office. In retrospect, yes. And you know, the when I think about the Dark Knight Returns, I think about it now and where we're at now, and my opinion of it is very different than what my opinion was when I was 20 years old. And to set the stage for those of you who aren't that familiar with the series, it was a four-issue prestige format comic book, which was pretty new stuff at the time. It was, really beautiful, thick pages, amazing, the glossy colors, the heavy duty covers. It was drawn and written by Frank Miller, who at that point had primarily been pretty famous for creating Elektra in the Daredevil world. And he's an interesting guy. You could talk about him for days and days and days. Um, with inks by Klaus Janson and colors by Lynn Varley. And it was visually just mind blowing. And it was, from a story perspective, shattering in many ways. And I will be honest with you, I bought it at the time. They were very expensive at the time. So 1986, each book was $2.95. There's four books, and I'm going to tell you right now, I hated it. Hated it. Couldn't stand it. And I mean, think about like the world at that point was like the Soviet Union was crumbling. Things were pretty, in many ways, there was a certain like optimism and positivity. And, we were all excited about, whatever the heck we were excited about in 1986. It was sort of the masters of the universe, capitalism on the rage at the time. And so then you get this book, and I'm just gonna put this here, and the covers are amazing and iconic. And if you think about, like, for those of you who are going all insane about Absolute Batman and this big bloated, blocky, ugly, Batman in this very dystopic world, let me just tell you, they did not invent that. Frank Miller freaking invented that. I mean, this was Frank Miller's Batman. And basically the story is that Batman is an old dude, 55, which is not that freaking old. He's an alcoholic. He had been retired from the superhero business, but and crime, everything's dark, everything's bad, everything's terrible. Gotham is basically under the control of these, horrible criminals and things like that. So he comes out of retirement, and he's old and he's cranky, and he's kind of out of shape, and he's got all these like devices to help him fight again. All these like really sort of very bloated Batmobile kind of machines, and but they're more like army vehicles. And he's going back to war with the criminals of Gotham. And the story is really like it's all over the place in many ways. Like there's a lot of little threads, and we also have Superman, right? And Superman in it is, sort of the bastion of quote unquote good and nationalism and all that stuff. And we have a great scene of him talking to Ronald Reagan in the Oval Office, and basically, Batman is seeing all the ways that the world is not going right and what's wrong with the world. And he's starting to really challenge some of the things. Yes, that's what I said, Ben. He's trying to challenge things. Um, and Superman is sort of, you know, the global ambassador of, capitalism and prosperity, and there's all this international relations stuff, and the UN's involved, um, and at some point, the two come face to face. These old friends. This is the final book, book four, The Dark Knight Falls, and it's one of the, I think, all time great Batman versus Superman fights. Um, and it's just the whole thing was really dark, and I didn't love this style of art. I thought it was ugly. I thought it was gross. I thought it was, it created a sense of dread in me. The only thing,
That was the point.
right, right, that was the point, and I didn't enjoy it. So I didn't like it. The only thing that was kind of the saving grace of the book was that it introduced us to the thing that I'd been craving my whole life was a girl Robin. And they introduced this character of Carrie Kelly who wants to become the new Robin, and she really to me is like the heart of the book. I think for anybody.
I love the backstory of her parents being like those burnt out hippies who are just like, yeah, we really did something, didn't we? And then
Yeah.
just checked out.
Checked out, right? Yes, exactly. And I think to me, if she wasn't in it, because she is this like thread of hope, and she's sort of like heart lifting in a way, and then kind of heartbreaking. Um, so I don't know. So that was my initial take, and then I put it away. Years later, I bought. I think I forgot that I even had the 4 issues. I bagged and boarded them like a good little comic collector and put them away. And then I pulled it out.
They look in insane condition. Like these sold
They
already,
are.
so
Sorry.
sorry about that. But like they're currently reprinting these right now. And if you held this next to one of the Black Label reprints, you'd be hard freaking pressed to tell. Like other than the new, like
Oh
it
yeah,
looks.
it's beautiful. The only thing, there's a little bit of scuffing just from a comic collector. There's a little bit of scuffing right here on the back of the book two. These are all first prints. Fun little side note, as I was explaining before, the book two for the second printing did not say second printing. So the only way you can tell if it is a first or second printing is by comparing this gray to that gray. And if they are the same gray as this one is, it is a first printing. So there you go. And congratulations to the guy who bought these about an hour after they became available on eBay.
I'm so mad at you.
I know you should be. You totally should be. But you made a really good point, which is like sort of like I did buy the trade paperback a couple of years ago and read it again, and my attitude about it now is very different than my attitude was then when I was 20 and less connected to what's going on in the world socially. And
Oh, you talking about what I said about Green Arrow?
yeah, just I mean, you can talk about that.
So Absolute Green Arrow is like very much just our world. I mean, yeah, there's some extra sci-fi shenanigans in there, but it's the world we live in, and it's amazing. But it's also it's a bummer.
Yeah,
It's like it's a tough read at points because you're like, oh yeah, that's not even. It feels like it should be a comic book villain of the worst, disgusting kind. It's like, nope, that's just Elon Musk or Epstein or something.
right.
Like it's very rooted in what's going on.
Yeah, and I think this was, when I look at it now, was very prescient. I mean, you can say a lot about Frank Miller's politics, and and I don't think he totally was like looking in a crystal ball or anything like that. But in terms of out of control capitalism, in terms of again, sort of the abuse of authority, but mostly just in terms of the division between the haves and have-nots. This really nails it in a way that was probably not as clear to me, as a 20-year-old in 1986, but is much clearer to me as a 60-year-old in 2026.
It also really brings up the advent of like cable news and like
Yes.
talking heads and like the 24-hour news cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a very much a recent thing.
Brand new, yeah.
Brand spanking new. If I mean, I don't know if CNN was even around.
I think so.
Just
yeah.
started.
Yeah.
And that he uses that as like a narrative device.
Yes.
And almost like a chorus, like a Greek chorus kind
mm-hmm.
of.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. Way ahead. I mean, there's a lot of things he really just nailed in this series.
Yeah. So, overall, I'd say that this is it was from a comics point of view, it was historical in the fact that DC printed it at all. This kind of goes up there with the Watchmen, in terms of like it was gritty and dark and negative in a way that DC ordinarily wasn't. They took their flagship guy, they made him ugly, they made him harsh, they raised up, the standard of like violence, considerably, and the writing in it is in the art. I mean, now when you look at it, just was cutting edge. It was breaking new ground, and I think it really kind of shifted comics from this idea. I'm not trying to say it's not good art. It's beautiful art in its own way, but it used to be this idea that comic book art had to be super pleasing and fun and very eye catching for like kids and bright, colorful, and it just isn't. It's very monochromatic, and I think that the use of color in it by Lynn Varley, think about it, like this is way before like all of the digital effects that are available now, and when you look at this now and you see what Lynn Varley did, it's pretty. I think that's probably an understated aspect of the
Yeah.
book.
Can I interrupt
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Sorry,
sure,
I know
sure,
I'm
sure.
talking too much on this episode.
No,
but,
you're
like,
not.
The style of writing too. Like, if you ever, any of you guys ever watched my producers picks, one of the big things that like I pick on, even on writers I like, is this tendency to slip back into the older style of comic book writing where there's just a ton of exposition, there's a ton of backstory, just kind of info dumped on you, and like character people don't talk. I mean, probably don't talk like a Frank Miller book either, but
Right.
it's stylized in a way in that way. But like it this stopped that. This was part of the end of that. Well, it didn't stop it because we're still seeing it, but like
Right.
this showed that you could write comic books. Very. I mean, I think I wrote a paper in one of my college classes on comparing this to the Odyssey and to
Yeah.
King.
King Lear.
No, what's the guy in Odyssey?
Oh,
Odysseus.
Odysseus.
God damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
It's like a master's degree over there, right there.
No, not a master's.
Just saying.
I got into the program, didn't have the money.
Oh, well, there you go.
But yeah, like this elevated writing beyond your typical Stan Lee outline and
Yes.
like shenanigans
Yes.
goes forward. This brought it to a form of literature.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm not saying that there weren't other writers
No,
there doing
sure.
that same thing, but it definitely is literary in its tone, in its structure, and in its writing. And it's funny because like I'm a huge fan of the Powers books, and I think a lot of Brian Michael Bendis' style of writing is influenced by this.
Sure.
I would be really interested to hear like what he's said about that. But anyway, so if you have not read Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, I highly recommend it. Again, it's being repressed right now.
I would get those over at the
trade
because there's something that the feel of these individual issues you can't in the paper they printed on.
Yes.
I mean, I have a first press of a trade paperback,
and it's flimsy.
It's flimsy, and it's still collectible because it's from the 80s.
Yeah.
But it's like I can't read it anymore because it's falling apart.
Whereas,
like these, you can check back in with every now and again.
Yeah.
And like I definitely there's something to the way they print them too. They're even using the similar technique.
That square bound technology. Well, what's interesting is like I literally only read these once, and I was so careful because it's like I read them like this so that it wouldn't crease the crease.
Oh my
god. Because I care about my comics.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all I'm saying. But anyway, those are my thoughts on The Dark Knight and Marlo's thoughts. Thanks for joining us.